Hello, my name is Jeff Liebmann, and welcome to my study here at the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Midland, Michigan. This is another of our series of online sermons that we provide for you, those folks who can't be with us here on Sunday morning. The title of this sermon is A Faith for Modern Explorers. The background for this, for those of you who aren't from Midland, is that the tagline for this city is that we are the city of modern explorers. And so I thought it appropriate to talk about what that line would mean for us here as the Unitarian Universalist congregation in this town. Let us light this light. Let this light ignite us in worship, warming us in the chill of night, showing paths through the dark unknown, burning us with the transformative power of courage and love. Our opening words were attributed to Sir Edmund Hillary, the first person to climb Mount Everest. The explorers of the past were great, and we should honor them. But let us not forget that their spirit lives on. It is still not hard to find someone who will adventure for the sake of a dream, or one who will search for the pleasure of the searching, not for what they may find. Our reflection reading comes from a book called Honey from Stone, written by Chet Ramo. All that we know now and forever, all scientific knowledge that we have of this world or will ever have, is as an island in the sea of mystery. We live in our partial knowledge as the Dutch live on polders claimed from the sea. We dike and fill, we dredge up soil from the bed of mystery and build ourselves room to grow. And still the mystery surrounds us. It laps at our shores. It permeates the land. Scratch at the surface of knowledge and mystery bubbles up like a spring. And occasionally, at certain disquieting moments in history, a tempest of mystery comes rolling in from the sea and overwhelms our efforts, reclaims knowledge that has been built up by years of patient work, and forces us to retreat to the surest, most secure core of what we know, where we huddle in fear and trembling until the storm subsides. And then we start building again, throwing up dikes, pumping, filling, extending the perimeter of our knowledge and our security. A Faith for Modern Explorers. This is 2011. We sit on sturdy, padded chairs, secure from the rain and snow, from insects and animals. We relax in the knowledge that we are just a phone call away from medical assistance, police protection, and available expertise of all kinds. If we get bored, we can go shopping, see a movie, consult a library, or stroll along hundreds of miles of sidewalks and pathways. Thousands of years ago, no paths existed through the rough forest country of this area. Aside from the odd animal trail, this land lay covered in abundant plant life. The local grocery store consisted of the hunted deer, berries, and wild rice. No protective services or ambulances guarded your safety from grizzly bears, mountain lions, and wolverines. Long before there was a Midland, this area lay as a vast, untouched wilderness. Only someone skilled in hunting, woodcraft, and basic survival skills dared cross this frontier. Every step contained the unknown, either a valuable resource ensuring life for another day, or a threat to continued existence in the next moment. Now, however, the land lies tame, defanged and carefully cultivated. No predators threaten our daily walk, and no deprivation challenges our survival. Though nature kicks us occasionally with a surprise or two, but the frontier in Midland no longer exists, paved under layers of asphalt, uprooted by loggers, and doled out into parcels for settling families and their descendants. Of course, the homeless still struggle for survival on our city streets, and victims of domestic violence still fear the wrath of the animal in their midst. But for most, if not all of us, the life and death struggle only exists in replicated experiences on a roller coaster, on a rock-climbing wall, or crossing a busy street. Yes, the frontier of history and legend no longer exists in Midland. Progress relegated the wilderness to paper and celluloid and our fleeting memories. Frontiers do still exist in various places across the globe. Oceanographers plumb the watery depths. Astronomers probe the black of space. Scientists delve ever deeper into the universe of subatomic particles. But for most of us, life goes on relatively predictably and manageably within various prescribed limits of happenstance and accident. And this life allures us. Driving home to a cushioned chair, watching the latest installment of our favorite drama on television can appeal to our numbed sense of comfort. Watching our kids play well-regulated sports in meticulously managed leagues offers excitement and fulfillment. Going out on kayaks and hiking trails safely reunites us with the awesome beauty of our natural surroundings. But let's not kid ourselves. Our favorite character will eventually prevail in the end. Win or lose, we love our children dearly, and little threatens our excursions into nature more than the occasional sting or twisted ankle. For most of us, a key element is missing from our lives, a factor likely as vital as air, water, and food. Teenagers get it, although we condition them quickly away from its attraction. Did you ever wonder why adolescents sometimes do the most incredibly dumb and dangerous things? You know that they know better. And yet, nearly every teen will one time or another pull an unbelievably dangerous stunt and scare the death out of us. They do the things they do because the appeal of risk is instinctive within us all. We all reach a certain age when the romance of risk leads us to experiment with danger, to defy an otherwise unassailable authority, to do something to ourselves just because we are curious to witness the effects. Doesn't it seem that the more controls we install in our society, the more neurotic our children become? Dr. Liebmann is a clinical psychiatrist and psychoanalyst and a professor of psychiatry at the University of California at San Francisco. In her book on this topic, she writes, "Adolescents take risks as a way of developing and defining themselves. They do this by taking on new challenges in areas that they often understand very little about, engaging in behaviors with results that range from devastating to extremely positive. Risk-taking is the major tool that adolescents use to shape their identities." Could it be that in making our lives increasingly safer, we actually rob ourselves of a valuable tool of learning and growing. Now, I'm not suggesting that we go back to log cabins, salting meat for the long winter and skinning deer for their hides. But I am asking whether we might benefit from a little less certainty in our lives. And I'm asking you to consider whether the rectitude of knowing adequately compensates us for losing the thrill of the unknown, the hunt for elusive alternatives to current truths, and the sensation of being crushed under the awesome weight of unknowable mystery. Now, I doubt that many of us lack a commitment to our fourth principle, the free and responsible search for truth and meaning. But how many Unitarian Universalists have taken a real risk in the pursuit of that truth, of that search? You know, responsible is a very tricky word in this context. A responsible search can mean that we take no unreasonable chances in the pursuit of truth and meaning. In this light, a responsible search is a safe search, a search with little potential to threaten us or others. I would argue for another interpretation of the word. For me, a responsible search commits the explorer to the duty of truth-seeking. By definition, frontiers present us with dangers. Otherwise, they would hardly be frontiers. I assert that our duty as Unitarian Universalists committed to the free and responsible search for truth and meaning is to seek out and explore frontiers, even in the face of risk. I would not advocate reckless truth-seeking in fulfillment of this duty, nor would I support exploration where the potential danger to others is disproportionate to the expected advance in our knowledge or wisdom. All truth-seeking, however, exposes us to danger, and we should not shy away from the frontier merely because of its inherent threats to our safety or well-being. Where are these frontiers, you may be asking yourself? I'm not an astronaut, or a deep-sea diver, or a nuclear physicist. What prairie schooner remains for me to pack in search of virgin territory? When you enter one of our congregations, you are sitting in it. Like Marquette's canoes, or the triremes of Odysseus, this fellowship and other Unitarian Universalist congregations stand ready to bear you into the unknown frontiers of religious experience. One of the reasons for transitioning many of our committees here at Midland into ministry teams recognizes that much of what we do here in this congregation is spiritual work. And whether you are comforting someone facing a challenge, engaging in teaching and learning, or working to sustain basic human rights and the dignity of others, you are engaged in ministry. And whether on Sunday morning or at any other time, when we light this chalice, we enter into worship together. Worship includes activities of reflection and meditation, of contemplation and learning, and within which you may literally pass beyond yourself into another reality of being, perhaps with others. Worship is joys and sorrows. Worship is ecstasy and oblivion. Worship is an atmosphere of immense serenity and brilliant flashes of epiphany, all of which lie on the borders of religious experience, our spiritual frontier. I encourage you to journey deep into the inner recesses of your soul, into the the cosmic spaces between our minds and spirits, into the infinity of universes and planes of existence that lie as far as imagination can carry and as close as proximity permits. The more you leave the familiar behind, then truth and meaning will increasingly reveal themselves. As your desire for normal and safe dissipates, the more attuned your sense will become to experience and sensation. Whether here in our sanctuary or out on our lawn, wherever we come together in worship, even remotely, we strike out into the frontier of worship and religious experience. We join hands, hearts, and minds and face that risk as one. We do this together because the dangers we face won't be as mundane as a wild animal attack or the winds of weather howling down. We will face dangers of a more visceral and personal type. We will explore the nature of who we are, individually and collectively, perhaps challenging our understanding of what it means to be human or alive. We will travel into the darkest recesses of human feeling and emotion and expose ourselves to that blistering cauldron of flame lying within our souls. We will examine constructs of the ultimate, questioning our purpose in the world and our rights as sentient citizens of this universe. You may not always like what you find in this frontier. You may doubt whether it was wise to leave certain things behind, abandoning the security of the familiar for the uncertainty of our future. But every step along the way will bring you closer to finding whatever it is you are searching for. Every step along the way you walk with your neighbor seated next to you. You do not face these dangers alone. And others have gone before us. Arius and Origen, Servetus and Sigismund, Channing and Ballou, Čapek, Reeb and Liuzzo, heretics all. Men and women who sacrificed much, and sometimes all, so that we could carry on this search. And you want to know what's thrilling about the challenge of exploring this frontier? We can't fail. We cannot fail because the search itself is the point. There may never be an end to this frontier. But so long as there are modern explorers willing to put one foot in front of the next, the dream will live on for the next group to pursue. The first step stands before us all. Go out there and find other potential modern explorers. Talk to friends and neighbors, colleagues and acquaintances. Tell them about our efforts. Invite them to join us. Find all those people out there that have been told that no religious choice exists but to sacrifice one's logic and reason to dogmatic authoritarianism. Find those people unaware that at least one religion believes in the power of humankind to make a paradise here on this planet. Find those people willing to ask questions and to be in religious community with each other. And welcome them here to join us in dreaming our impossible dream. Our closing words come from Henry David Thoreau's Walden. Our village life would stagnate if it were not for the unexplored forests and meadows which surround it. We need the tonic of wildness, to wade sometimes in the marshes where the bittern and the meadow hen lurk, to hear the booming of the snipe, to smell the whispering sedge where only some wild and more solitary fowl builds her nest, and the mink crawls with its belly close to the ground. At the same time that we are earnest to explore and learn all things, we require that all things be mysterious and unexplorable, that land and sea be infinitely wild, unsurveyed and unfathomed by us, because unfathomable. Until next time.